So today's topic is quite famous topic which comes in the middle length of discourses of the Buddha. We will focus on these faculties based on the teachings, and the main purpose of the teaching or this conversation is to get some understanding how we can practically apply the teachings to our daily life. Personally, for me, any type of conversation or sermon is not a matter, but the matter is how much have we applied them? How much have we benefited out of these teachings in this very life, that because we have left very limited time to stay here in this planet. We don't know. We don't know how long we're going to be here. So therefore, it's better to focus on the present moment. So this teaching teaches us how to be in the present moment and how we should deal with our six sense bases with present experiences. Let's read the story first. There's a nice story. Buddha was living in Kajangala, and then a student of Brahmin Parasarya, Uttara, his name is a young person, Uttara. Parasarya means the teacher. The Parasarya's student, Uttara, came to visit the Buddha. And then they had a conversation. The conversation is, the Buddha asked Uttara, does your teacher teach the development of faculties to his students? Then he said yes. And then Buddha asked how he teaches. This is what he said. Here, Master Gotama, one does not see forms with the eye. One does not hear sounds with the ear. That is how the Brahmin Parasarya teaches his disciples the development of faculties. It makes sense. Buddha replied in this way. If that is so, Uttara, then a blind man and a deaf man will have developed faculties, according to what the Brahmin Parasarya says. For a blind man does not see forms with the eye, and a deaf man does not hear sounds with the ear. When this was said, the Brahmin student Uttara, Parasarya's pupil, sat silent, dismayed, with shoulder dropping and head down, glum and without response. See, there's something to discuss. Buddha asked, what is your teacher's teaching? And the teacher Parasarya's teaching is, don't use the eyes. Simply don't see, don't hear. Is it possible? It's not possible. But he teaches, don't see and don't hear, don't taste, don't smell, don't feel. And in that way he thinks we can develop the senses, because we do not have any engagements or experiences through the senses, which is incorrect. And then Buddha answered to that, it should be a blind person if one cannot see, or it should be a deaf person if one cannot hear, or simply senseless. We should be senseless if we do not feel anything. And then Venerable Ananda was aside, and he said to the Buddha, he requested to the Buddha to teach. Before that, then Venerable Ananda was there, and Buddha said, Ananda, there is another way of developing the senses or faculties in this Buddha's dispensation. And Venerable Ananda requested to the Buddha, Bhante, it is the time to teach the supreme development of the faculties. And before we go through that 6 sensory developments, I would like to ask a question from you as meditators or as a practitioner. How you deal with your senses? What type of practices do you have to control over your senses? Because we all have different type of experiences, so the objects that come to the senses we have to deal with. Do you practice any sensory objects through the Dhamma, like how you deal with those? Any thoughts? What do you do basically when you have somewhat experience? Yeah, but we are not listening to the Buddhanussati or anything all the time, right? We have many things, multiple things coming in. Yeah, so what is your reaction for that? What is your reaction for those things? No, I mean asking how you practice, how you control the senses. So what else? How you deal with those? Well, yeah, so all the answers are fitting in. The important thing is that we cannot avoid these sensory experiences. There's no such way to do it. And they are coming and we're responding. My first advice is we should be firmly mindful. Mindfulness doesn't mean we should need some deeper practice, but at least in the basic level we need some recognition what is happening there. The main thing for the most of the practitioners is unknowingness. They don't know how to recognize those things. They just experience it and they just react. My advice is we should have a delay response, delay reaction for any type of experience until we sort out the situation. Don't we have that type of condition sometimes when you have some serious matters? We do. So then what we do, we park the situation or the matter until we find a better solution, right? There are some things, some are, then we have to quickly respond. To have a quick response, we should be mindful plus wise. Mostly we mindfully react. We know what is coming in, but the reaction does not contain enough wisdom. Then that generates another condition or another situation for us. Then sometimes it is harmful. It is harmless sometimes. And sometimes that can drag us for a different direction. So therefore, none of us is able to stop these reactions, but the mindfulness and the wisdom are the key components to understand them. Then we'll see how this supreme practice come to be with us. Generally, all humans and the other beings have mindfulness. Because mindfulness, not only a Buddhist teaching, it's just a general practice. Animals have mindfulness. They are mindful about their experiences. And humans also mindful of their experiences. The matter is, the animals do not have ability to develop their mindfulness. They have stuck somewhere else and they just live with what they have. But humans have the capacity of developing that state up to a highest level. That's why the Lord Buddha came to the human planet. Because humans are the most capable and powerful being in the world who can develop. Then everyone has somewhat mindfulness and understanding with their sensory experiences. The specification with the Buddhist practitioners is, the Buddha has taught us to how to understand, how to deal, and how to control, and how to manage those sensory experiences and how to turn them into a good manner to get the benefits out of them. That because we have to go with them with the flow. There's no such way to escape from them. And basically, we are asked to do this. So you said that we have to promptly react to the sensory experiences, which is correct. We have to. But there are few things that comes in Satipatthana Sutra, in Dhammanupassana. First, this has happened to us. Sometimes some of the experience we notice when they already gone. Sometimes we get suddenly angry and it's gone, but later we understand, oh, I was angry. That's the first step. That happens to everyone. But what is the valuable point of that? Even later, we understand I was angry. Isn't it good? Which is good, because later we opened the eyes. We recognized, oh, I was angry, which is good. And then that keeps happening. That means we are aware of what's going on. And then when we keep observing and being mindful with that conditions, we know when the anger or the other sensory experiences are present. That because of the awareness. And then we know I'm angry, I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm worrying, and I'm moody, right? Different type of. When those conditions are in the present, then we have different type of masks to wear in our wallet. And then we act according to that state of the mind. When we angry, we have a mask in the wallet and take it and wear it and act. Don't we? We do. We are very good actors and actresses. When we are in love, then we have the mask and we remove the angry mask and wear the loving mask and we just act on it. We smile and laugh and feeling better, right? Yeah. Fathering, mothering, right? Different type of. And then when we are generous, we wear that mask and we are so generous and faithful. When we want to meditate, we leave everything behind, wear the meditation mask, and then meditate. Don't we? It is not something unusual for us. We all have that type of moods, different moods. We change. Why? That because we have different understanding, different experiences. See, some people, some beings, always angry. They're moody. Some people are always smile. They are so kind and compassionate. They have no such hardship in the heart, and they are so soft. And some people are always worrying. They have no happiness. Whenever we see them, they're moody and pale, and unhappiness is there. Some people are always smiling, and they have the balance of the life. No matter what, they just smile. And some people are so compassionate. Some beings are so generous. Some beings do not get angry, even tiny bit of angry. Why? That's their nature. That's their nature. So, then we have different type of shapes and masks, characters. Now, you have the mood of listening to the Dhamma. And believe me, while listening, there can be some other moods too. If this teaching does not fit to your understanding, you will be moody or sleepy. If it is fitting to you, I can see you. I can understand the audience. And if you are upsetting what I am saying, with what I am saying, I can see it, but I don't react. Is it a surprise? No. Why? It's not a surprise for me, because I know the audience, what happens. Those are different beings from different backgrounds. They are coming from different backgrounds and with different experiences, right? And there's no surprise because of their moods. That's the nature of them. And therefore, I do not worry about these moods. I just being flexible for everyone. It doesn't matter. Once, a few months back, I conducted a meditation program at a library. A lady who was sitting, and she was very good with the meditation. She's a Christian, but she came for the meditation. We do not meet Buddhists all the time to teach meditation in the West. Mostly we meet Christians or the other faith. It doesn't matter, we just teach. I'm not seeking for only Buddhists to teach. Even the Buddha did not do it. And he just taught to the humans and the devas, for the beings who are willing to learn. That's what I'm doing too. And then that lady was so upsetting. She was very delighted before. And I noticed that. And I was noticing that she wasn't comfortable with the meditation too. Later, I spoke to her and I asked, what happened to you? I felt something is going on. And then she approached me and said, can I hug you? I said, yes. Usually we don't do, but that moment I said, I thought I should neglect it. Then I said, yes. Then she felt so happy. And she said, my dog was seriously sick, and I took him to the doctor, and the doctor said, put him sleep. Sleeping means dead. And she was worrying about that action. that action. She knew that it's wrong. She knew that it should be done, but she had no choice. That's the culture. That's the environment. And even she was strong enough to come to the meditation, even though that had happened few hours back. And then that hug helped her to release her suffering. And then later, personally, I talked to her what we should do with this kind of situations and how we should deal after that. And then later, she continued the meditation, and she was one of the devotional person there. So I don't want to say all the details, nitty-gritty details of that, but that's happened. So then this type of conditions or moods or the situations we might meet all the time, everywhere. And how we should deal with those, right? And then even one day we will meet too. Definitely you have been meeting those things, no doubt about it. So therefore, then when we are in the moods, different type of shapes of the mind, states, at the moment we recognize them, then we know how to deal with them. While we are observing them wisely, what happens next? Then we will understand before they arise because of the knowingness. Earlier, we did recognize them later when they passed. Again, with the practice, we understand them when they are present. Then later, because of the wisdom, we will understand them before they arise. That means we have developed our senses. And then, again, while we are applying that conditions, situations, then later we will recognize there is no such existence within me and everything has gone. That we call the enlightenment, the fulfillment of the practice. Until then, we all will be having any type of sensory experiences. To get to that point, this teaching will help. Do not be stressful. It is not hard. And do not underestimate, it is not that easy either. We should have better practice. Remember, to develop the senses, there are two railways. One is the mindfulness, and the next one is the wisdom. The mindfulness with the wisdom is the railroad. These two tracks will help us to develop the senses, understand the teachings. And then how Buddha taught. So with the eye, this is what happened to us. I think I'm missing some part of the teaching here, but I'll grab this number 6 here, then I can go with the other rest. How we do, when we happen to see forms, what we experience, we have agreeable experiences or disagreeable experiences. So neither agreeable or disagreeable, simply neutral experience. That's the reaction from us. When we see sights, forms, sometimes we happy. Agreeable means which we like, which we accept, which we happy. What is the disagreeable means? Which we reject, which we do not like, which we do not accept. That's disagreeable. In Pali we call manapa and amanapa. Manapa is agreeable, Amanapa is disagreeable, rejectable, refusable. And then there is another state which is neutral. It's kind of carelessness. We just disregard of the experience, but we have some sense, but we do not follow it. But do not misunderstand. Here's the thing with that. Liking or disliking, agreeable or disagreeable states are very visible. Just imagine, when we are angry, we can see it, right? When we are happy, we can see it. That's the surface. We know I'm angry and I'm happy, I'm unhappy. They are very visible. They are very visible. It's easy to react, deal with. But the neutral feelings is very, very invisible. We can't understand it. We don't see it. Let me share this story. Once, this is a true story. Once, a monk was bitten by a snake in a forest. And then other monks took him to the hospital. And the doctors put him on the bed, but he was screaming. The monk was screaming. Nobody looked at him. All the doctors and the nurses, attendants were surrounded by another person who's calm and quiet, silent. And everyone was surprised. This monk screams, but everyone gathers with a calm patient. And one person approached that crowd and asked, "Oh, he's suffering and he's worrying and he's in danger. But you all are here with this unconscious patient. Why don't you look at him?" Then the doctor said this: to scream, that person is conscious enough. To scream, that person is aware enough. He's not in danger. But this person is unconscious. He's in danger. He should be treated quickly, promptly. That's why we are looking after him. Let him scream. Because he's not, the situation is not harmful for him. So, liking and disliking that kind of situation. But neutral feelings are very invisible. We can't understand. We should deal with them very carefully. This is how we should deal. We know when we are angry, we are taught to apply loving kindness, compassion, or such things to prevent that anger, to suppress the anger. And for the happiness or the affection, for the lust or raga, we are advised to apply foulness or kind of disgusting matters to prevent that state. But what is to be applied for neutral feelings? It is anicca. It is anicca. It is wisdom. It is impermanence. Only vipassana can solve or sort out that neutral feelings. None of the other concentration practices are able to sort or solve the neutral feelings. Does that make sense? I'm kind of going deepening. So the visible things in the surface level we can sort out. But the neutral feelings should be worked hard. It takes a while to understand, even to understand before sort it out. So, these agreeable and disagreeable experiences and the neutral feelings, how this disciple, how this practitioner thinks about these experiences. Actually, in this teaching it says, This is about the true practitioner and a frequent practitioner. That person has more wisdom and the mindfulness, the awareness of his own journey. And then that person is fully aware of what is going on through the senses. And when agreeable experiences are present, he thinks or she thinks, oh, I'm experiencing an agreeable or disagreeable experience, object, which is conditionally arose, which is gross, which is dependently arose, which makes the samsaric cycle. To think, to have that states, that person must have that education first. That person must have those details to apply. And then, plus the wisdom, he applies it. What happens then? When the person applies that states, that thinking that these agreeable or disagreeable states are conditionally arose because of some conditions and dependently arose, and they are gross and they are making the danger for the samsara, that means that that person speaks to oneself with the recognition, with the understanding, and that sensory experience will fade away quickly, rapidly, within few seconds, within twinkling an eye. That experience will fade away. And the mind will settle with the equanimity, upekka. And that unhappiness or the happiness or the neutral feelings will be faded away. The mind is so calm and serene and relaxed. What is the important matter of that? When we are truly engaged with these sensory experiences, those are based on 3 unwholesome roots, which is lobha, dosa, moha. And then our reactions also based on lobha, dosa, moha. Lobha means greediness or lust in another way, and then hatred or anger, and the delusion or ignorance. Mostly our reactions are based on unwholesome roots. And then the wise person has this understanding because of the long-term practice. That person applies this equanimity and this wisdom into the experience, and he knows or she knows how rapidly, how quickly these sensory experiences can be fade away without get into the mind. On the surface level, that person can reduces or cut off. That means we do not welcome to those sensory experiences, objects, to our house. We do not take them within, to inside. But we experience them and we leave them away and keep them away. We don't accept them. We do not reject, we do not refuse, we don't fight, but understanding is the barrier to prevent those experiences. Understanding is the reaction. But generally we have unwise reactions. We think that unwise reactions can kick out these objects. No, they just get into us and they are deepening within us because of the unwiseness. I'm stating this, I'm telling this with my true experiences of the long-term practice. I'm not just telling this because of the teaching or because of the text. I am telling this with my personal experience. So you are welcome to apply these direct teachings in daily life in order to understand it with your 6 sensory experiences. If we recall the Satipatthana Sutra, once the Buddha has taught there where this suffering exists, where this suffering ceases, what should be done with that. Then he uttered, suffering exists, or the tanha exists within these 6 senses. And where this tanha or suffering ceases, again within these 6 senses, not somewhere else. Sometimes when we point out the moon, instead of looking at the moon, people looking at the finger. Right? One day a person lost something else in the dark. He was looking around a light, under a light. Another person noticed that someone is looking something else, searching for something. Then the second person asked, what are you looking for? He said, I lost something. Then he said, what has lost? Then he asked, where did you lose it? He said, in the dark. And he was searching under the light. Then the second person asked, why are you looking here instead of there? Because there's no light. He said, there's no light, that's why I'm looking here. See, people are misguided, misled, mistaken. Beings are mistaken so much. And they don't know what they are doing. So that person has to search where he has lost things. So therefore, we should search the suffering. We should understand the suffering within us, not somewhere else. Then we should treat to the tanha or suffering where it has arose, not somewhere else. There's a very good famous phrase in the Buddhist, the Sinhala culture, literature, that a person who has the wound on the leg, but that person treated to the backside of the body, which is should not happen. We have to treat to the wound on the leg, but we treat to the backside. It doesn't work. So therefore, we need to treat, we need to understand the tanha or the conditioning or the originations or the existence, where they arise, where they exist. So where this tanha exists? Within the senses. Where they cease? Within the senses. Then where we should treat? Also here. And what is this agreeable and disagreeable or neither or the neutral experiences are? Those are the tanha. Those are the suffering. And where they arise? Through the senses. Where we should treat them? Through the senses. Does that make sense? Yeah. So, then the teachings of the Buddha is, if one can develop these 6 senses by applying equanimity, by applying the wisdom, by applying the vipassana, that person will liberate oneself very quickly, promptly, rapidly. And we do not want to wait to get the ultimate result for a certain period of time. The result is in the present moment. Let's think in this way. Imagine that now I have this agreeable, disagreeable, anger or liking or disliking, whatever the state at the moment. Now we understand they are present. Then we are wise. We know how to deal with them. When they arise, we have the wise reaction. We react wisely. We apply the Dhamma to that present experience. And suddenly, that experience, or that object, or that sensory experience will fade away gradually. Where that problem exists? Here, at the moment. Where we treated? Here, now. And the fire is gone. Problem is solved. We have applied the Dhamma in the present moment. Where's the outcome then? Is it hereafter? No. It is in the very present moment. And we feel we are equanimous, and we feel so happy, and we feel so relaxed and cool down and calm down, and we are serene. Why? The happiness always here in the present moment. It is not from the past, it is not in the future. Happiness is here. All the problems, all the matters arise here and cease here. We have to apply the Dhamma in the present moment. And then we are firmly calmed down and we are completely free from the suffering. Suffering exists here and suffering ceases here. And the Dhamma is very visible. Dhamma is akaliko. It's in the present moment. Dhamma is in this very life. No need to wait until we die to get the result. Before we die, we can liberate ourselves, at least some amount of it. That will count hereafter as well. Why we are capable of listening to the Dhamma in this very life, among this busy lifestyle? Because that we have fulfilled our perfections enough to listen to the Dhamma and apply it accordingly. Aren't we fortunate? Fortunate enough. Then we should bring that fortunate to the present moment to deal with and to success our journey. Okay, so that's the basic understanding of this teaching. I do not want to read all the details here. Easily we can equipoise ourselves. Easily we can calm down ourselves by applying our own wisdom. This wisdom is not from the Buddha, not from someone else. We can't hand it over. It's our own wisdom. We have the wisdom and we have the ignorance too. Then we have to upside down them. We have to understand when I am deluded and when I am wise. The wisdom or the ignorance or the delusion is within us. It's not something out of our control. It's within us. We should be able to understand it. So we should remove the cloud, the dust within. Then you will see the purity of the mind. Then one can purify oneself and will bring the ultimate outcome. A farmer started to prepare the field, and Buddha noticed that. He approached him and had an amiable conversation with him. Buddha asked, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm preparing the field." Buddha said, "Good," and he left. Following day again he came. He had the conversation, continued the conversation. Nothing much, just simple thing. And this was happening for a while, and that farmer was thinking, this Gautama this ascetic is keep coming to me, that because of the friendliness. He is a friend of mine, and then he should be treated by me. And then he thought, I will offer a portion of this harvest when it's ready. Then Buddha was waiting for the harvest, as well as the farmer. The field was ready to collect the harvest, and the farmer thought that I will collect it tomorrow. Tonight it was a heavy raining. There was a flood, and the field was washed away. And the farmer noticed that the field is no more, it's gone. And he was so sad, upsetting, that his entire life is gone, because that was his wealth for next few months with his family. He was lamenting and crying and sad, worrying, and he was lying down on the bed. Householders, family members tried to feed him, but he rejected. Later, Buddha arrived at his house, and the family member said he's reclining and then he's worrying. Then Buddha approached him and asked what happened. He explained what had happened to his field. Then Buddha knows that. He knows that it happens. And Buddha uttered a teaching. Tanhaya jayati soko, tanhaya jayati bhayam, tanhaya vippamuttas, natti soko kuto bhayam. When he was delivered, uttered that 4 praises, that person sat down and he was delighted. His sadness was gone. What had happened there? What's the meaning of that teaching? Tanhaya jayati soko. The craving or the desire generates the sorrowness, unhappiness. Tanhaya jayati bhayam. The greediness, the craving or desire generates fear. Bhaya is fear. Tanhaya vippamuttas. When someone freed from craving, liberated from craving, natti soko, there is no sorrow, lamentation. Kuto bhayam, when there is no sorrow or lamentation or fear, there is no fear. Then what happened to that person after this teaching? He thought, I was crying not that because of the fields are gone, that because of my mind was gone. My mind had washed away. That's why I was crying, not the field. That was the turning point to upside down himself. Then he sat down with the understanding. Then he entered to the Sotapanna state rapidly, quickly. That's the understanding. He understood that my mind was washed away. I was blind and ignorant. I was fooled because of the craving, because of the lust, because of the affection, because of the wantings. Then he suddenly realized that craving should be gone. Then he turned himself into the practice. That rapid change made himself Sotapanna. That's the present alive experience of the Dhamma, live experience of Dhamma. So therefore, the Nibbana is very visible. Nibbana is here in this present moment. There's a full liberation. Before that, there's a step-by-step liberations, which we are going to talk in another topic. I will stop here and I'll open to the conversation. If you have any concerns about the teachings, I usually request to the audience to bring the questions regarding to the teaching, not something else from somewhere else, related to something to the practice. That's most important, to continue the conversation accordingly. That will help for everyone.
Hello, Bante. My name is Yam. I think recognizing the feelings is quite easy. I think in daily life we actually experience a whole range of the different emotions. And I think some emotions, somehow I think we feel is a bit difficult to deal with. And one of that is actually jealousy. Why I bring that up is because I think, in this world, we see many people are very successful, they're prettier, they're better, they're brighter than us, right? So always, this is a feeling that, we're just not measuring up, and then, we are jealous at the people's success. So I actually do have that feeling, but, after today's talk, right, I still have not digested everything that you said, but I think the key takeaway for me is, being mindful of the jealousy when it arises. And I think, that's rather easy. And then applying the wisdom now is the difficult part. So can Bante use this as an example? How do we deal with it after you have recognized that the jealousy is coming again? So what do I do next? Thank you.
Thank you. That's a big question. Okay. So believe me, I also have jealousy. I'm not liberated from it. I experience it, which is true. We all have somewhat. That because we are in a mundane world. This world is not completely purified world. And we have different levels of experiences. As a human, if we do not have anger, hatred, lust, jealousy, ignorance, we can't be humans. Why we are here as humans? We are here not to liberate, but to fulfill our senses with this sensory world, pleasurable world. We are not here to liberate or seeing Nibbana. Nibbana is an additional thing to the human world. Humans are in the human planet or born here to fulfill their senses, to enjoy. We are going through those experiences all the moments, all the time, and I'm happy that even though you said that you have jealousy and some sort of experiences with that, along with that, what's the good thing of it? You, sister, understand that you have that state. That's the most important part of the practice. Why? Many of the practitioners do not understand what they are going through. It's simply, if we do not understand the sickness, we can't prevent it, we can treat it. And then you understand, I have jealousy. I'm sure not only jealousy, we all have some sort of hard experiences, which is natural. And we understand that nature, and you have the willingness to prevent it or suppress it, remove it, work with it. and to liberate from it. That's the second important thing, that you want to free from it. That helps us to deal with the jealousy or whatever the state. To understand, to recognize, to deal. Don't you think that you don't have wisdom there? You do have wisdom there. You do have mindfulness there. What is the lacking there? We have the understanding, we have somewhat wisdom, we have mindfulness, but something lack. What? Effort, energy. And we should be more energetic. We should be more mindful. I already said that we are mindful, we have mindfulness, but the application is the matter. The way how we apply it, the way how we see those things is the matter, not the situation, not the condition. And we need more energy, more effort, more understanding, and this should apply frequently. And the wisdom part, it is not something that we can provide to you. There's no such program, that wisdom program. We can say words, but wisdom is within you. So here's the thing. If you purify yourself with the practice, wisdom is within there, wisdom will arise. So the lotus grows in the mud. When the time's passing, it comes up and blooms. Wisdom is here in the mud. We have to remove the mud day by day, and then the wisdom will bloom. The basic wisdom is there. We have the basic wisdom. Why? That's why we understand. The fundamental view, right view is there. Basic right view is there. That's why we can understand it. Yeah. The main point is recognition. Yeah. Because if I do not understand what I am, who I am, then there's no way to liberate myself, right? Then first I should understand who am I, what am I? Understanding, recognition, understanding, and then so recognition and understanding plus mindfulness. Mindfulness is there, awareness, and then wisdom. We bring wisdom to investigate that condition, and then we analyze it, why this jealousy or the state arises. That analysis helps to suppress or remove the particles of that condition.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So Bhante was saying that, just how you were saying that we have to recognize, we understand, we mindfulness, all this. But what kind of condition that the person would have before they're able to do such things? Like you say, a lot of people, we know it, but what are the criteria? Is it because of karmic, or is it because of how to reach to that level, to understand, to recognize? Because it's easier said than done, isn't it? But most of the time, we are not aware. So what we need to do? Thank you.
Thank you. The only thing is we have to, I can say we should practice. So what is the practice is? What is the practice is the application. So where we can apply? Should we come to the temple and sit and watch ourselves? Not only that. So we have a life. All these activities, the activities of us from morning to the evening that we are going through, dealing with, are subject to the practice. There is no such small, tiny thing that we should avoid. So that's what in the Satipatthana Sutra says, that we should be fully aware of what is going on with us. I understand your concern that it's so hard to recognize some of the conditions when they arise, because sometimes they are powerful than us. They can suppress ourselves and because of the power. That because we can be suppressed or overpower, that because we are not wise enough. We are not wise enough, and any powerful matter can overpower us, either mind or the eyes or the nose or the tongue. Just imagine that when the craving arises for meals, how we deal with it and how we express our wanting, how we drive through the restaurant by restaurant finding better food. We cannot fulfill ourselves. That because we want to feed our senses, keep feeding them, we are not satisfied. And then these states are keep coming because we haven't dealt with them enough. And if we truly recognize these are keep coming, the same things happening, then the wisdom should be there to prevent those. So I can keep talking on this, but the thing is, the more effort, energy, and the more wisdom is the key in order to deal with those conditions actually. But the practice means daily application. It's not a one type of meditation session once a week, once a month, or listening to a sermon, having a conversation once a week. It's not enough. It's about your daily application, how we deal with the things, how we are mindful daily.
A lack of awareness, basically a form of moha.
Yeah.
The delusions, Because sometimes when we talk about agreeable, disagreeable, a lot of time, like your example, we go around the restaurants, looking for food. But we do not know there's actually greed, in us. So there's actually a form of moha and,
Actually, agreeable or disagreeable states arise because of the moha. Otherwise, we should be able to deal, right?
Yeah.
Delusion, we are deluded. That's why we just feed them. We generate them. Lobha and dosa arise because of the moha. Ignorance.
Can moha be also termed as a neutral feeling?
Yeah.
Because when we do all these things, sometimes we are not aware. So it's a neutral feeling.
That's a neutral feeling. Yeah. Simply, again, if I recall that, lobha, dosa, like liking or disliking, is very visible.
Yeah, it's very visible.
Yeah, we can deal.
Yeah.
But moha is underneath. It's kind of hiding. And it's hard to recognize until we expand the wisdom enough. The only way to deal with it is vipassana. That comes with the direct teachings. But the moha, we have different levels of moha. Basically, we all are deluded in the samsara. And then we have, again, it depends on how much we have grasped. The moha depends on that. So why still we cannot liberate? Because our ignorance or avidya is so firm, steady. Still, sometimes we can't, even though we have a lot of Dhamma teachings and applying, but still we can't deal with some simple things even, right? Sometimes we cannot let go very simple things. We keep worrying about those things. They keep coming. That because before we find a better or the firm wisdom, we should be able to deal with these tiny things. But still it's hard to deal with those. Just imagine how the world deal with. So the moha is the biggest part of this. That's why in the 10 fetters, the moha goes until the liberation. Once we fully removed or let go the ignorance, there is the wisdom, there is the nibbana. Until then it goes. It means it has laid out throughout the samsara. But luckily, we all are lucky enough to listen to the Dhamma, even though we have lack of understanding, lack of wisdom, but we have somewhat wisdom suppressing the moha. We are lucky enough to realize the teachings. We know what is good, what is bad, what is benefited, what is non-benefited, and what is mundane, what is supramundane. We have that understanding. Does that make sense?
I'm just thinking, talking about our senses or our feelings and what is agreeable and not agreeable, often they are boiled down to our survival necessity. Like if we don't like a smell, like a urine smell, whether we don't like, it's because that substance is not harmful for our body. That's why we repel it, right? Or sometimes when we chase for wealth, well, wealth is because it provides us security to live without having to go hungry and all that. So, thing is, and of course our reaction to it goes accordingly, right? If we smell some smell urine, we run away because it's not good for our body. Well, we chase after wealth because we know it's necessary for our living, it's for the future, right? Not for now, but for the future, right? So the thing is, when do we, can I say, draw the line and put a stop to say, yeah, we should note these desires or this reaction of ours, but not to take action, or, we should actually follow the reaction that comes from it, because I find that if you look at it carefully, most of our, agreeable or disagreeable and the reaction all boils down to actually our survival, or something that, we know is important for our survival.
Thank you. If I understood correctly, this is what happens. We are in a general world, secular world. We can't escape from many things. We can escape from something, but not everything. And we have to deal with, like as a secular person, and you have to deal with your family. You have kids, you have to work, you have to deal with your regular life. And this doesn't mean that we should ignore everything that comes to us. Sometimes, as parents, there are times that we should be tough when we parenting, right? Then we need to be tough. But it we don't have the toughness within, but we just show it to tame our kids, to control them. And sometimes, this is what happens. When people offer dani, they wholeheartedly do it. I'm not saying that we are pretending, but sometimes, mostly our devotees, especially women, they are so delightful when they express our happiness of their offering. And then, without touching, without crave for it, we have to make them happy by saying some words, few words. Oh, this is very tasty. Sometimes we can't say, oh, this is so not delicious and we can't eat. But it's not pretending. But we have to make them happy. In the West, we call it white lying. White lying. So make them happy. Even for kids, we know sometimes some of the things, it's useless. But we have to have them to make them happy, right? It doesn't mean that we fully engage with it or fully accepted that. Sometimes inside it could be worrying, but to outside we show the happy face, smile, because we don't want to show our unhappiness to the world. We just protect ourselves. And so therefore, we are in a mundane world, and this world is not ready to liberate themselves at once. Therefore, we have to deal with case by case, according to them, for the survival. But we should understand what is the actual factors or nature of the condition. But still we deal with it. And we should live harmoniously with others. Therefore, we cannot be very tough. So if we face to the reality, we can't do anything. We can just sit outside under a tree. We don't need the technology. We don't need anything, air conditioning. And we can just sit outside and do things. That was the authentic practice from the past, but it has developed in different conditions until today. Then we have to go with it, which is not bad, and which is can't say no. That's the world. But if we go, while we are going through the world, if we can understand what I have to do actually, then that's the matter. Though you are having a family life and your busy life, if you can deal wisely without clinging to them, clinging to it, that's the matter. That's the wisdom there.